So we've been talking a lot recently about budgeting, financial decision making, and of course, about savings and how to set money aside. In fact, last time we spent quite a bit of time talking about financial institutions, best places to save your money, and different types of savings accounts. Today, we're going to talk more about how that income gets into your account. Like, how do we make money? And we're going to explore these two important notions of employment and, of course, income. Now, along those ways, our objectives for today are to analyze the relationships between education, training, and earnings. It probably will come as no surprise that there is a connection between how much education a person has, how much education, how long they're in school, and the types of degrees or degree that they earn, and the amount of money that they're able to make. We're also going to examine the different deductions that come out of a paycheck that determines your net pay. So, the gross pay, and this came up in the Caleb's budget activity as well as in some of the EverFi quiz questions. Keep in mind that your gross pay is never the money you see, right? You see it on paper, but you don't actually keep that. We'll talk more about that in a minute, doing the difference between gross and net pay. We're going to identify other types of income that can supplement wages and salary, and we'll investigate benefits such as health insurance contributions, retirement benefits, leave, which is paid time off, life insurance, and disability. So we're just going to touch on those briefly. When you take personal finance to high school level, they'll probably go a little bit deeper on those because those are what we often refer to as fringe benefits that are many times just as important or almost just as important as the wage or salary that you're being paid for the job. All right, but let's start with that first one. And again, I don't think it's going to be any surprise to you to know that historically education and earnings are tightly connected, that there's a positive, what we call a positive correlation in terms of statistics. That means when one thing goes up, the other goes up. So when we have more education, or when a employee has more education, they tend to make more money. So what you're seeing in the chart here that was put together by Northeastern University and is sourced by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. You're seeing income, median earnings, which is if you took all the earnings of the person with that degree and you pick the absolute middle spot, that would be the median earnings. It's close to an average, but not quite an average, a little bit off the average, but the median earnings of folks with a doctorate degree, it's $97,916. So the highest degree, the longest time you would generally be in school, whether that be for a medical doctorate or an academic doctorate or scientific doctorate, or a law degree, which is what they call a Juris Doctorate. Okay, so it's a type of doctorate degree. The median earnings is just under $100,000 each year. And about 1.1% of the US population, active workers, have that degree. Look to the professional degrees. Now, this is going to be the degrees that you have for, say, a specified profession where you are licensed. So, this could be something like a physical therapist, this could be something like an architect. These are going to be those type of degrees where a licensure is in play. Nurses would fall many times under professional degrees. The median salary there is $96,000. Again, very comparable those two, but they require lots of schooling and not only the upfront investment in your education, but often with both doctorate level positions and professional degree positions, there's ongoing educational requirements as well, meaning people still have to continue to certify or recertify with state agencies or federal agencies to keep their licenses and their employment in good shape. So a master's degree and bachelor's degrees are underneath. The master's degree is what's commonly called the first degree that you can earn in graduate school. You can see 77,000 annual is the median salary there. The bachelor's degree that's that 4-year degree that you would earn from a college or university. Average salary there is 64,000. The associate's degree is going to be just about 18,000 less per year on median average salary, or excuse me, median annual salary. And that associate's degree is the kind of degree that you would earn from your community colleges. So something like St. Charles Community College or St. Louis Community College, where you could earn an associate's degree after 2 years. Workers who had some college but no degree We're making about $43,000, so they're making on the median scale just under what an associate's degree is making. And then the high school diploma folks with only a high school diploma are making about 38,000 a year at the median level. I think you can see, again, analyze this a little bit. The biggest jump is between high school and bachelor's degree, and that's historically where it's been. That means that's the largest spread between the two numbers. That's a spread of almost $30,000 difference between getting your high school diploma and going out and starting your career and never looking back to education, or going on at some point for a bachelor's degree or a 4-year degree and then having your career earnings that can amount to, again, by the median numbers here, about a $30,000 per year difference. Now, one thing I would note, and this has been a trend that we're watching closely, is that some technical careers that do not require a 4-year degree have seen a boom in wages due to a shortage of qualified workers. So this is going to be nice for folks who are out there who maybe don't see college or a university as the best option for them, but they still obviously want to earn a good living. There are lots of technical schools, everything from auto repair to HVAC repair, to bridge building, to solar panel working. There's all kinds of jobs out there. There's jobs in the aerospace industry, computer science industry, where you can get a technical degree. So you wouldn't be studying things like ELA and math and science and social studies, at least not in the way that you study them now in middle school. But you would be studying things very specific to the profession you want to go into, and you can make a really good living doing that. So they'll talk more with you about that as you get into your high school years. But it's something to go ahead and kind of think about now, especially if you're somebody who likes to work with your hands, who likes to do any kind of a physical or technical work. There's some great opportunities out there. All right. Income and employment deduction questions. Assume you work. How would you feel about having taxes pulled out of your paycheck? Well, that's something to think about. It's going to be hard to have a job where taxes don't come out. Why do we pay taxes, and what do you think will happen if you don't pay taxes? So there's a couple of things. Again, sometimes we ask these questions and get responses from our class, but you think about those because those are two important questions. It is important to understand why taxes are paid and why they deduct out of your income. It's also important to understand the ramifications for not paying taxes. Pay types and deduction types. Let me talk about those first two for a moment, because those come up in both your EverFi modules, as well as that we've had some discussion and some other assignments and things in class on that. In fact, Caleb's budget assignment, which you may have already finished or may still be working on, also addresses this issue of gross versus net pay. Gross pay is going to be the salary amount that you're paid. Okay, it's going to be, if you're paid a wage or an hourly amount, it's going to be that amount multiplied by the number of hours you worked. It is the total earnings for any given period without any deductions. Okay, it is an amount that you see on a paycheck and a piece of paper, or on a pay stub rather, and a piece of paper, but you never really see it in your bank account. And why is that? Because there's almost always deductions. There's a few exceptions to that: 1099 income, some contract work, things we're not going to really get into in this class. For the most part, always understand the biggest thing you need to take away is that gross pay is that top dollar number that I don't actually get in my pocket or in my wallet or in my bank account, and net pay is after deductions. And so when we think about how we're going to budget and make our financial decisions, you always want to make your decisions, you always want to make your budget around net pay and not gross pay, because gross pay represents a higher number and a sum amount of money that you will not actually see. There's four deductions listed here on this first slide: Social Security, Medicare, federal tax, and state tax. I'm not going to go real deep on any of these. Just understand that these are standard deductions that will almost always come out of your pay. Here's kind of an example. I like to put this in here of what a pay stub may look like. If some of you have seen pay stubs from the adults in your house at home, you may have seen something like this. They don't all have to look like this, but it's kind of a standard look. You get your employee name in the top left. The employee name is up there as well. It tells you the pay period you're being paid for, and then gives you your gross wages. Again, that's that gross income number. It's represented in the middle left side, it says gross wages $1,000. Again, we don't want to budget on that amount because we're never going to actually get paid $1,000. After deductions, and this is in the lower right corner, we're going to see what the actual pay is, which is net pay of $709.74. That's the amount you want to budget on. That's the amount of money you actually have to spend and make decisions with. Now, there are some supplemental income types. We're not going to go too deep on any of these, but just kind of put them out there so that you know they do exist. All right. So, in addition to your salary or your regular wages, there is extra money that you can earn. And that usually comes in the form of bonuses, awards. It could be back pay, which is pay that you're being paid for previously worked or earned hours that you weren't paid for. Taxable fringe benefits, retroactive wage increases, non-accountable expense allowances, non-deductible moving expenses, prizes, commissions, severance pay, and accumulated sick leave. These are all types of extra income that can hit your paycheck. I know it seems overwhelming. It seems like a lot, and it is a lot. You don't have to memorize that or know that. Just know that there are extra kinds of income that can supplement what ultimately is your bottom dollar net pay. Now, employee benefits. I said we'd go a little bit into this. Employee benefits, sometimes called fringe benefits, can be as important as the wage or salary compensation you have to a job, especially the older you get and the more responsibilities you take on. So if you have a house, if you have a spouse, if you have a child or children, these types of benefits, these types of non-cash benefits that you receive are super important. Okay. Health insurance contributions. It is expensive to get health insurance. And so having an employer that will pay at least a portion, if not all of your health insurance premiums, that's the money that goes to the insurance company to pay for the coverage, that is a huge, huge benefit. Retirement benefits. We talked about this a little bit last time. We talked about savings and we talked about the rule of 72 and starting early. One of the important things with retirement is to save early and to save consistently. So you want to have an employer, ideally, you want to have an employer that is making contributions to a retirement account for you and with you. Paid leave, people are going to get sick. If you have children, children are going to get sick. You're going to have days off that you want to take, vacation, etc. It's nice to have those and get paid for not being at work, right? Scheduled and unscheduled paid leave. Not every job has that. They're not legally required to offer it, but it is a very important, very popular benefit. Life insurance and disability insurance. Again, the more responsibilities that you have in life, the older you get, the more these things will become super important to you. So life insurance pays money to someone or someone's, could be multiple people, that you designate, that you put in there that you'd want to leave it to, like a spouse or your children, if you die. Okay, so if you have the life insurance in place and you pass away, money is paid to your family. Disability will pay you a portion of your income if you're hurt or sick and cannot work. Again, these are important for everybody, but they become more and more important the older you get and the more financial responsibilities you have. All right, so that's just a quick overview of income and wages. Now what we want to do is we want to do a little activity. This activity is in Google Classroom. This is where you're going to find it. It's called the Career Exploration Worksheet. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to explore two different careers. I want you to explore them, and then you're going to build some Google slides talking about what you found out. Now, it's really important, a couple of things. Number one, pick careers that you think you might be interested in, not because I'm going to keep a record of it. And when you get ready to graduate high school, I'm going to say, okay, remember, you wanted to do this. You've got to do this. No, of course not. But because you'll enjoy the assignment more if you pick something that at least sounds interesting to you rather than picking the first option you see. I have put a website in the instructions, again, Google Classroom in the instructions. There's a website for the Bureau of Labor Statistics that will provide a lot of the information that you're interested in. But I've also provided an idea grid for you. This is a document with, I believe, 9 different occupations on there that are a little bit out of the ordinary. Again, I'm not saying they're weird or strange, but what I am saying is they may not be occupations that you're thinking of. You may already be thinking it may be your dream job. Maybe somebody in your house already has one of these careers, so you're familiar with it. That's great. But for a lot of us, these are jobs that might fit our interests that we didn't know were out there. So, what are you going to find with the grid and the links? You're going to find a video. The video is going to tell you a little bit more about the career and what it's like. I strongly suggest you watch at least one, if not a couple of these videos, just to get some ideas about the job, and then go back to your Google. Go back to the Google Classroom assignment and instructions, and use the Bureau of Labor Statistics website to get the data you need to fill out the assignment. The assignment does have some specific instructions for how to do it. Those are on the second slide, or slide 2 of the assignment. You should be able to easily access that once again from Google Classroom. Again, that assignment 2 is also worth 5 points. Your EverFi assignments, check Google Classroom, make sure you're getting these done. We must pass each module quiz with a 70% or higher for full credit. Look for the green bar. Okay, so as the modules are listed there, if under any of your modules you have a pink, peach, or puke color, okay, you'll notice, because it looks like one of those 3 things, you didn't pass it. Okay, you got to take the quiz until you get a 70% on that module to get full credit. Kalo's budget assignment is due Monday, so if you have not finished that, spend today doing that. That's important. And then, as another reminder, next Wednesday we are going to have our first typing or keyboarding test. Okay, that will be Wednesday, September 13th. So please be prepared for that. After you've done the other things, you may spend some time continuing to develop and practice your keyboarding and typing skills. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.